A U.S. federal judge has suspended a rule requiring women to visit a hospital, clinic, or medical office to receive an abortion pill during the COVID-19 pandemic. The ruling says the measure is a, quote, substantial obstacle to patients seeking an abortion. Pro-lifers said the provision was reasonable and necessary to protect women. And in Georgia, a federal judge has permanently blocked one of the state's pro-life bills. Republican Governor Brian Kemp signed a measure last year to ban abortion once a baby's heartbeat is detected. Abortion groups filed a lawsuit, and the judge ruled the proposal violates the U.S. Constitution. Governor Kemp says he will appeal. Following an Associated Press report saying the government gave, quote, special consideration to faith-based groups in the federal Paycheck Protection Program, the U.S. bishops are defending its use by Catholic parishes and other Catholic organizations. Archbishop Paul Coakley, chairman of the USCCB Committee on Domestic Justice and Human Development, writes in part, quote, the Paycheck Protection Program was designed to protect the jobs of Americans from all walks of life, regardless of whether they work for profit or nonprofit employers, faith-based or secular groups. Joining me now on Skype is Andrew Robison, president of Petrus Development, which has helped more than 100 Catholic ministries in their fundraising efforts. Andrew, welcome back to the show. Good to see you.
Thanks, Tracy. My pleasure to be here.
Andrew, let's talk about the Paycheck Protection Program, or PPP, that is, and who's eligible.
Sure, absolutely. So the intent of the Payroll Protection Program, when it was rolled out back in March, I believe, was to keep American workers employed. And so, this article by the AP that says that churches and faith-based organizations were given preferential treatment I just don't get it, because the Catholic Church, they claim that $1.4 billion went to the Catholic Church, which on the surface may raise some concern for some people. But what non-Catholics and many Catholics don't understand is that the Catholic Church is actually a collection of 25,000 unique organizations. So there's over 17,000 Catholic parishes, over 600 hospitals, over 6,000 schools and universities, and over 1,000 nonprofits in the country that employ American workers to do all sorts of offer all sorts of services for the community and for our society. And I think that to claim that the church was given preferential treatment, I think it's just wrong.
Yeah, Andrew, can you talk about who is covered under the umbrella of Catholic organizations, and maybe what are some of the things that money was used for?
Yeah, absolutely. So Catholic organizations in general would qualify. You'd be looking at Catholic parishes, hospitals, schools, both elementary and secondary, colleges, nonprofit organizations. Many of them are considered Catholic organizations. And the payroll protection money was used specifically for payroll, benefits, rent, and utilities. So the intent of it was to keep workers, American workers, employed. And I think that it did just that. The Catholic Church employs over 1 million workers, and as high as 2.5 million when you look at some estimates, including part-time and full-time. They invest over $100 billion in payroll, in goods and services, in direct aid for food, shelter, and clothing for the poor. And so I think that the money that came from the stimulus kept workers working at those institutions so they could keep those services going, which I think is important for Catholics, and I think it's important for the country as well.
Well, the AP raises the issue of preferential treatment for faith-based groups. That is, I'm curious, what's your reaction to that statement?
Yeah, so again, I just don't get it. Archbishop Coakley said in his statement that you read earlier that the Payroll Protection Program was for nonprofits and for-profits, regardless of their mission. And so I think when you look at how many employees the Catholic Church employs, like I said, between 1 and 2.5 million. The fact that over 25,000 organizations, many of which are very small organizations, implying just a handful of people to run entire parishes and nonprofits, I think that it accomplished exactly what it did in keeping those American workers employed and doing good work for the church and for the country.
Well, Andrew, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate your insight. Andrew Robison, president of Petrus Development, thank you again.
Absolutely. God bless.